The first direct commercial flights from the U.S. to Venezuela just resumed after 7 years. Operated by American Airlines, a flight from Miami to Caracas took off the other day. Originally, it was banned from 2019 due to political tensions and safety concerns, of course. The question that I want to know is, do you think that it's safe for anybody, not just anybody, let alone Americans, but passport bros in particular, to hop on one of these planes and test the waters over in Venezuela? I'm Noop International. Let's deep dive into this topic. But before we do that, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe while you're at it. And now let's get into the video. Let's go.
How you like that? You gon' like that? Like that? How you like that? Now, look at you, now look at me. Look at you, now look at me.
Tests are through the entire world, from the United States to Europe to Asia. Tests have actually been going on for weeks now, as workers say that they are struggling to just get by. Democracy, freedom, people are demanding higher pay. And when you look at the numbers, they are pretty staggering here. Annual inflation has skyrocketed to more than 600% as of February 2026. It was bad before. And just yesterday, acting President Delcy Rodriguez announced a wage increase from about $190 to roughly $240 a month.
So what he just said right there is they did get an increase in salary per household. So it went from $170 to $240 per month. So a $70 increase for families per month has been the increase. So let's keep in mind, the U.S. still has a level 4 don't travel to Venezuela going on right now. You can get over there and you can possibly get arrested, unjustifiably. You can get robbed, kidnapped. Anything can happen to you while you're over there. And there's going to be limited response. And the biggest issue to me is getting over there and there's no U.S. embassy in case something like this was to go wrong. So you're really taking a huge risk if you decide to go over there.
This is the most significant increase in recent years. We have not had an increase that allowed us to reach this level. I also want to report that our elderly pension equivalent to $70, which represents a 40% increase.
She said the increase still falls short of what's needed, saying that there's a long way to go. And on the streets, outrage remains. Let's bring in Ana Vanessa Herrero, who is on the ground in Caracas tonight. Ana, great to see you. The craziest part of all this is that the base monthly salary is still only like pennies. I mean, it is $27 a month or something like that. They're saying this bump, if I understand it correctly, which is still pretty tiny, will come in the form of bonuses, but then where that comes from is a huge question mark. To give our viewers a little bit of a perspective here, let's quickly play this interview you did with an older person a little bit earlier.
We're asking for a fair wage pensions. What am I supposed to do with 130 bolivars? I'll say it again, not even a cup of coffee, because a cup costs 180 to 200 bolivars. A small coffee, one coffee, and they charge you that many bolivars.
Look at that man's body language, how he's relaying his message. That's pure frustration. You know what I mean? That's a 70-year-old guy that's pretty much, he's had enough. You can tell in his body language and how he's speaking. This statement from him is kind of put things in perspective.
You have to wait a month, just like me, what I've told you of us. It's all of us.
Crazy thing is that man has been working all his life, been working hard as hell all his life, and still the compensation is just, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Meanwhile, the inflation is still real over there. Inflation is real, but wages are not matching. They wasn't matching before, and they still aren't. They're really not matching now. even with the $70 increase.
Putting things into perspective, how are people getting by?
They're not, and 27 cents, 28 cents a month. So for pensions, it's a little bit more, $1 and something, $1.50 maybe. It depends on inflation, and it depends on the depreciation of the bolivar. But people, what they were telling us today when we were out there with them on the streets in this protest, this new protest, was that this is not enough. Of course, this new increase in salary doesn't even come close to what people really need to survive whatever they're struggling in this crazy Venezuelan economy.
Here in the United States, with all the things happening in the world, it seems kind of like Venezuela had somewhat been forgotten ever since Maduro was removed, with the assumption that, oh, well, things must be better down there, or more stable at least. The reality you're showing here is very different.
Different on the ground. So the thing here in Venezuela is that the country is trying to establish itself in the middle of these two realities. The global political sphere shows us that there is, in fact, a huge change, which translates into new agreements, laws, bilateral diplomatic relations renewed, and for example, the new flights, direct straight flights from Miami to Caracas, that were, broadly celebrated this week. But on the ground, things feel absolutely different. People like the man that we're seeing there, Luis, he told me that he doesn't really feel this change that both the Trump administration, the Delcy Rodriguez administration are talking about. So really, it's kind of a limbo for regular citizens, but not.
So basically what they just said is, even though there has been a change in leadership there, he still really doesn't even feel a difference. There's no difference that he feels with the change. You know what I mean? So, in what scenario does this make sense to even travel over there? I can understand, if you're a journalist and you just want to do some research, maybe even if you have family there, you haven't been there in a while, but, the experienced travelers, traveling over to Venezuela, I still believe it's going to be a high risk for anyone. So
this is politics in Venezuela, set up by, the support of some of those colectivos that we've seen. But politically, does it seem like there's another option out there that may be rising, or is it going to be Delcy for quite some time?
This is really interesting that you bring this up, because I was talking to a lot of people today, and I've been talking to a lot of people since January 3rd regarding this. What are their expectations? And people today specifically told me that they were growing increasingly worried that the new reality is going to be Delcy Rodriguez staying there, making Donald Trump happy, while the people on the ground still remain in despair. So about another possibility, people wish that there was another possibility. There's no other possibility that they are allowing us to see from within the government. But people are still waiting for Maria Corina Machado and the opposition to step in. But that hasn't happened yet, and we have no clear information when that's going to happen.
Watching the scene.
So in other words, what would be your goal of going over there? Would it be vacationing? You over there chasing chicas or chasing men, whatever the case is, content creation? You have to figure out, if it's worth it. Myself, I'm one that wants to go over, when I travel different places, I'm experiencing the culture. Well, that's not the type of culture that I'm trying to experience right now, where everything is just, first of all, wherever I go, I'm going to be looked at as, something that I don't want to be looked at as, you know what I mean? So I'm instantly a target because I don't look like a Venezuelan, because I'm not, in the way I carry myself. And not just me, I'm just speaking broad to the average traveler that likes to go different places. You know what I mean? So if I'm traveling, I got to have money if I'm traveling. So that automatically puts a target on my back, to someone trying to feed their family that's making $100 and something a month, bringing into, trying to have a family and survive off of $200 a month, you know. So I'd rather not be there, knowing that there's no embassy over there. There's no real protection for somebody like myself once I get over there. It's just too risky, you know. Also, what about flights? You know, the flights are limited, obviously, coming back from over there, American Airlines. So you might get over there and get stranded. Anything can happen, you know. Just because you can go doesn't mean that you should go, is what I'm trying to say. But, you know, you make your own decision. Let me know in the comments, would you go to Venezuela right now, or would you wait? I know myself, I'm going to wait. I'm going to use you guys as guinea pigs. Y'all can go over there and, you know, after a year or so, and I feel like it's safe, I see, you know, you guys are going over there doing your content creation. Best believe I'll be paying attention. And if it seems like it's a go, then I'll pop up. If not, then you guys can have it. All right. But yeah, let me know in the comments. You know, go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see y'all out. Peace.